Hi everyone, this is Malcolm Munro, President of the Management Foundry, and welcome to our very first edition of Management Prescriptions. You know, my company, Management Foundry, is really focused on developing the next great generation of managers. I think it's important because having done a lot of outplacement work, having worked in different organizations all around the country, I find one of the most common issues are bad managers. You know, everybody talks about leadership, but when all is said and done, it's the management team that makes things happen. If they're good at what they do, you got an organization that's going to be successful. If they are really hopeless, you're going to have real issues. So what I want to do in our very first edition is I want to give you kind of my overall philosophy on management, what it takes to be a great manager, and then get you set up as we go week by week into some very helpful hints on getting you through it. The model I like to use is a model I learned back when I was in the Navy. The model is called the fire triangle. It looks something like this. Obviously, we've got a triangle. Now, in the fire triangle, what you're trying to do is figure out what causes a fire. Now, the reason you want to know this when you're in the Navy is that if you're on a ship and there's a fire, everybody becomes a firefighter. To be able to put the fire out, you've got to make sure that you look at all three of the components that make a fire and remove one. So here's the components. First component is heat. Second component is fuel. And the third and final component is oxygen. Now, if you want to put the fire out, all you got to do is remove one of the elements. Take away the fuel, rake away the burning wood, whatever it is, fire goes out. Take one of those CO2 fire extinguishers, blow that on the fire, suck up all the oxygen, fire goes out. Or you simply mask the heat, fire goes out. Now that's for a fire. Let's talk about management. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put management in the middle. We'll just put a big M, okay? And we're looking here for actually good management. So what are the elements that make up really good, effective management? Well, first element is actually technical skills. Technical skills. A couple of things around technical skills. Technical skills might be the skills that you used back when you were an individual contributor, whether you were a welder or you put things together or you fixed computers. Whatever technical skills you had, those are one component. Second one, though, is the technical skills that managers need to know. Things like how to fill out an appraisal form. Things like how does the ADA work, the FMLA, any of those kind of technical things about the management role all go into this component here. Second element, then, is what we call critical thinking. Critical thinking. As an individual contributor, all you do is think about your individual job. But once you move into a management role, then you've got to start thinking bigger. You've got to understand that it's kind of like a chess match. Whenever you do something, you've got to be able to counter your opponent's moves, and maybe up to 3 different ones. And so as a manager, you've got to say, if I make this decision, how's that going to affect all the other components? Your critical thinking skills are critical. Third element's down here. We call this interpersonal skills. These are your people skills. This is your ability, number one, to understand who you are. What are some of your biases? What are some of your motivators? What are some of the things that make you who you are? When I do workshops, I like to use things like Myers-Briggs or DISC so you can figure out what your hardwired preferences are. And then it's your ability to understand what happens to you in a conflict, what stresses you out, how to communicate well. If we're looking at this like the fire triangle then, to take away management, all you've got to do is remove one of the elements. And I bet you've worked for a manager once before, maybe a couple of times, that was missing 1, 2, or even all 3 of those critical elements. To be an effective manager, it's all 3. So what we're going to do is we go through this maybe every week, every other week, depending on when I come up with something profound to say, is we're going to build the technical skills, the critical thinking skills, and the interpersonal skills to become great managers. In the meantime, I hope you go to my website, motivate8.com, to sign up for my report on how to keep people motivated during a recession, and then follow my blog at themanagementrx.com. That's all for this week, folks. I'm looking forward to seeing you every other week on the YouTube channel for the Management Foundry. Check me out online at managementfoundry.com and have a great week.